Hello everyone and welcome to my new video. And what is this video about? Well, we are going to look at every single possible way that you can launch clips in Ableton. It's going to be great. Now you might be thinking, oh, blimey, who doesn't know that? Yeah, okay, fine. If you've been using Ableton for a while, you probably know how to launch clips. But maybe you've just bought Ableton and you don't understand or even care what launching clips, you don't know. It's just like, what? What are you talking about? I don't know what that is. Or maybe you've been using Ableton a very long time and you're sort of fairly familiar with how to launch clips, but maybe there might be some things in here that you didn't know. There's certainly some things in here that I didn't know. So I thought it would be interesting to try and look at every single way that you can launch a clip, and not just audio clips, but MIDI clips, dummy clips, automation clips, all this sort of stuff. So it's going to be a bit of a deep dive, but we're going to start with the basics. I'm going to pull in a audio clip here and let's close the browser. Actually, no, let's have the browser open. So immediately I can press this button here and it will start. Right? And then I can press this button here and it'll stop. So if there's an empty clip slot somewhere in the track that the clip is on, you can trigger that and you can stop the clip. So let's do that again. We can click here and start that clip and stop it here. We can also stop it here. So this is like a stop, global stop button for that entire track. So if I click there, that's going to stop. I can also do this from a controller, like the launch pad or the push or anything that's got one of these. I can trigger it there like that. And then if I want to stop it, I can go stop like that. Now, I think if I was to do this, hold this button and press this button, that stops it. All right, you can also do it with the keyboard. I'm going to use my arrow keys to navigate to that clip, and I'm going to press enter. And now the clip has started. If I move down with my arrow keys and press enter, I can trigger that slot there and that stops it. Or I can do command enter. Oh no, yeah, command enter, there we go. And that actually presses that button there. Watch it again. I'm pressing command enter and it's stopping that clip there. It's pressing that button. So enter to do that, command enter to do that. You can also stop a clip with this button here. But the thing you need to know about that is going to stop every single clip in the session. That's important. All right, so there we go. Those are the basics, but there are other things to consider. So for example, up here we have this drop-down menu, which is the global quantization. And this is going to set when clips start and stop globally. Every single clip is going to start and stop according to this global quantize. So currently this is on 1 bar. So if I was to have the transport playing, which I believe it is currently, yes it is, I'll turn the metronome on. And if I start this clip, it's not going to start until the next bar. Let's turn the metronome up a little bit. And it's not going to stop until the next bar. Right. Now, if I change this to something like a 8th note, that means that every single clip in the session is going to launch on the next 8th note, which is faster. That means that there's less time to wait. Let's have a listen. Now that works here. If I click with the mouse, or if I press enter, and here to stop it too, stops on the next 8th note. You can go all the way up to 32nd notes with the mouse too, or with the enter key. Right. Very nice. Now that's the global quantize. That's for every single clip in the session, but they don't all have to follow the global quantize. What we can do is we can go into the clip editor and we can look at some of the options that are available for how individual clips behave separate from other clips. So in this second tab here, we've got this section down here, which is called launch, right? And down here, we've got a quantize drop-down menu. Now, currently, by default, they're generally set to global, but they don't have to be set to global. They can be set to their own individual quantize. This is brilliant. So I can set this clip only now to an 8th note quantize. And then if I was to duplicate this clip, color code it something else like green, and then go into this clip, I could say I want this one to have a quantize of 1 bar. So when I start this clip, it's starting on an 8th note. And And then when I trigger the clip underneath, it's not going to start until the next bar. Same with the enter key. And then when I move to the next clip, let's hear it with the metronome on. Right. Interesting stuff. I need to give myself some more space. So we don't need any of those faders and all that sort of stuff. So, right, now we've got, so we've looked at the quantize for that clip, but we've also got different launch modes. Now, this is when things I think get pretty exciting, because generally all the clips by default will go to trigger. You can change this in preferences though, I believe. If you go to settings and you go to, where is it? I think, is it file? No, record, warp and launch. Here we go. Yeah, so you can actually choose the default launch quantization and the default launch mode to be something else other than what Live's default ones are. So, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to leave them as they are. Instead, I'm just going to explore some of these options down here. So trigger is just what you would expect. You start the clip. Let's turn the metronome off. And then you stop. It starts on the next bar and it stops. Now, we've got gate, right? So let's make this clip orange. And then you can watch what happens when I push this clip slot here. Now, when I push and hold, the clip is going to play for as long as I'm holding the clip slot on the launch quantize. So if I let go now, it's going to wait till the next bar and then stop. Watch it again. Comes on. Comes off at the next bar. Now, if I set the quantize to something like eighth notes, same with the mouse too. Let's use the mouse. Click and hold with the mouse. And then if I do it with the enter key on the keyboard, okay, pretty cool. It's good stuff. So let's put the quantize back to bar and then look at some of these other launch options. Toggle. So can you guess what toggle does? Yeah, you click it once to start it and click it again to stop it. So you don't need the stop button. So I just did that with the mouse. I'll do that with this clip slot here. Start it, press it to start it, press it again to stop it. That's pretty useful because then you can just sort of think of a clip as being either on or off rather than kind of playing or not playing. You know, like with this clip here, if I want to stop it, I have to find another slot or I have to press the stop button. But with this, you can just kind of turn it on or off. Pretty useful stuff. So let's actually, let's maybe make this one this shade of blue. And then let's put that one back to gate and this one to toggle. And okay, very nice. Let's go for this final one, which is repeat. Now, this one, we'll make this one yellow. Now, this one is going to keep repeating the start position of the clip for as long as you hold it. Now, when you have your quantize to something like a bar, it'll just sound like that it's looping, right? And then when I let go, it'll pick up from where I left off. Now that's just going to loop. I'll do it again. It's restarting. And the rate at which it repeats or restarts is set by the quantize. So if I set this to 16th notes and I press and hold this slot, it's going to repeat at 16th notes. And then when I let go, it's going to carry on playing all the way through. Now, interesting stuff there. If you have loop off, right? And we say get the end position of the clip and just put it to here, then what will happen is when I press this clip slot or when I press this clip with the mouse or with the enter key, it's going to repeat the first 16th note and then play to the end of the bar. Now I've turned loop off, so that just means that it sort of just comes to a stop. If I set the loop point here like this and turn loop on, then we're going to press and repeat, then we let go. It's going to loop around and then I'd have to stop it using one of the other options such as triggering an empty slot or using the stop button. So there's some interesting stuff to think about here, right? you don't have to play the entire loop. You can play a tiny little bit of the loop, like this bit here. So I've just got this snare. I'm going to turn loop off, and I've just got this 16th note repeating snare. And then when I let go, it's just going to stop, because I've only told the clip to play this bit. That's pretty good fun. You could do some like improvised live percussion just by launching clips. I'm using the enter key now. And then the clip slot here, and then the mouse. I can click and hold with the mouse. So this could get sort of pretty interesting in terms of maybe doing kind of like almost beats like in real time, just using clip slots. So let's take this clip here. Let's say we just want this first kick drum here. I'm going to turn loop off. Is there a shortcut to do that? No, there is not. Never mind. Okay, then let's take the duplicate of that, and we'll do the same thing here. I'm just going to click and drag. I'm going to do Command L. That's going to loop that bit. I don't want it, though. I'm going to turn that off. So these have both got 16th note repeats on them. So I've got my kick here and my snare. Isn't that fun? So we could actually kind of make these a little bit longer, maybe something like this, and then this one we could maybe have like this. But these could loop. The good thing about the repeat thing and not having things looping is that when you sort of let go, you know that they're going to stop, and they're going to stop at the end point that you specified with the loop brace. But if you have kind of loop on, let's maybe just have the snare loop. Have I done the right one? Yeah, let's have the snare looping there, and then the kick we won't. We'll just have it play the first bit. Can you see what I'm doing with my finger here? You can do it with the mouse too. So I'm just pressing it randomly and it's repeating. But then if I do it less often, we're sort of playing a little bit more of the clip. Then if I want to stop, I can just trigger the one above. Why don't we take like a copy of that clip and maybe play one of these snares later on the same way. So we'll select this bit, we'll do Command L. Oh, they're very similar sounding. Let's zoom out a little bit. Go to like another bit of the clip here. There's just a slightly different snare for a little... Yeah, they all sort of sound the same. Oh, well, whatever. Okay, all right. So that was fun. Now, I'm kind of like having a good time with that. I'm going to make another track here, and I'm going to take a copy of these and put these over here and give them a slightly different color. These are going to be this purple, whatever. So same thing up here. Now, if you get your timing right, you can just do the drums yourself. You don't need to program them. You can just trigger them. Now, if you get your timing wrong and you're just sort of holding, you can sort of, it can still be kind of quite interesting. I don't think you'd want to do that for an entire set. People would get a little bit aggravated, but you know, maybe like a couple of minutes, you got a little bit of a funky improv jam thing. Okay, so we're kind of just looking at doing this with drums at the moment, but we'll look at other ways that we can do this with more melodic stuff later. So now what I was thinking of setting loop points separate from start positions. So let's take a copy of this clip here, and let's say that we want this clip to start right at the very beginning, but I want it to loop here. So I've told the clip that it's going to start right at the very beginning. Let's zoom a little bit. And then when it gets to here, it's going to start looping and looping forever until I stop the clip, right? Okay, let's actually change the launch here. Let's change the launch to trigger. And let's set it back to 1 bar or global or whatever. So in the context of this clip here, this one, when I start it, when I trigger it, it's going to start from here and it's going to loop forever until I either play an empty clip slot or another clip or stop the clip slot in that, just, you know, the global stop, that button. Anyway, let's look at it. All right. Now I just restarted it. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, nice. Okay, but let's try it with something like gate and see how that feels. So with this one, I'm going to have to hold my finger on the clip. So it's going to start from the beginning and it's going to loop this part. And then when I let go, it's gone. Pretty good stuff. Pretty useful stuff, I think. Because I kind of quite like to feel like that I'm really touching the music sometimes. Not in a creepy way, but in a sort of like, you know, rather than just sort of pressing a button and just standing there, there's something I quite like about the idea about like really touching it and like feeling like that you've got hold of it, you've grabbed it, you're holding on to it, and then your actual physical actions can determine what's going to happen next. Really like playing an instrument, like playing the guitar or playing the drums or the piano or whatever. Like, you know, obviously when you play a piano, you can turn the sustain key on, hold your foot on the sustain key and just press a note and then let go and then the notes ring out. But generally all the time you actually play and you hold your fingers. This is sort of a bit like that, I think. It's about trying to find something that works, I think, for your actual physical, the way that you want to work with this stuff physically. Like, we're all different and we all want to do things differently. So let's look at all the ways that we can do them differently. Otherwise, we just end up all doing things the same and it gets boring. So I could maybe have like a slightly shorter clip here like this. And then and I can obviously change the quantize to something like an 8th note. So you can see there's a relationship that we can have here between, let's move that one down. And this one is just got the repeat on and looping. And then this one is can you see the relationship that's happening there? Now, like if you wanted to program that, you know, obviously you can do that, nothing wrong with that. But if you wanted to do that, it might take you a little bit longer. And you know, you might be sort of feeling like that you're not really involved in what you're doing. I feel like that I'm getting really nicely involved. I've kind of got all of these different clips and the way that I interact with them physically is going to make a difference on their delivery. So this one, I've got to hold it and it's going to loop. Then if I let go on the next 8th note, it's going to cut out. And then if I go to the one underneath, it's repeating until I let go, then it's going to loop. And then if I stop that one, if I let go. Yeah. All right. Okay. So that is pretty good fun. Now, we don't necessarily need the clip to play in its kind of, you know, in its default state. Like if I wanted to maybe play this entire clip here, it doesn't necessarily, let's have this, put this to trigger and put this to 1 bar. Now, this one here, I'll color code this one a different color, slightly darker blue. Okay, so I'm going to fire this one off. It's going to launch on the next bar and it's going to loop indefinitely. But it doesn't have to. It doesn't actually have to do that. If you use the Beats warping algorithm, you can go into the envelopes and you can go into the clip and you can go into the sample offset and you can actually move the start position of the clip around whilst it's playing. I should mention also that I'm fairly 100% certain that everything I'm saying can be done in probably every version of Live. I'm in Live 12.1, but I think you can do this in Live 1. I'm not sure when the Beats algorithm was introduced. I'm fairly certain when I first got Live 3, I remember a friend of mine saying, oh, check out the sample offset thing. You might like that. So what you can do is that you can kind of draw in automation here like this. I generally like to do it in 8th notes and in 8th notes apart from the middle. And then what you can do is just kind of get the clip to jump around its start position. So it's not actually playing in a linear fashion. It's playing in, you know, like another way. Let's see what that's like. Let's just do some stuff like this. Yeah. Isn't that interesting? So you can sort of chop stuff up without even really chopping it up. And then if we start sort of looking at that in terms of like the way that we can trigger that, let's go to the repeat thing again. Let's set the repeat to something a little bit different. Let's try like, well, it's got triplets. There's no dotted notes, which is a bit of a shame. Not a huge problem though. But so now that's just playing on every quarter note, repeating until I let go. Then it's going to start doing its jump around thing. Now, let's put that back to trigger and set that back to 1 bar. Now, this is using linked automation. If I unlink it, that means that the automation lane is now separate from the all this stuff. These two tabs, the sample is what point of the sample it's playing, where it starts, where it ends, blah, blah, blah. And then the envelopes are just all completely separate stuff, but they can exist independently of each other. So, and you do that by unlinking stuff. So I'm just going to like pull this down to something like 3.5 bars. And that means that this automation is all going to get offset to the way that the sample gets played. There's no like visual feedback that it's doing it. You just have to use your ears. Sometimes it glitches out a little bit, but... So you've got a little bit of like more variation there. It's not just going to go round. They're going to go in and out of phase with each other, which could make it a little bit more interesting. So these are all sort of things that you can do when you launch a clip. You don't just have to play a clip from start to finish and have it go round and round. It can do like a hell of a lot of other stuff. And we're not even really getting started on some of the clip automation. I mean, the clip automation that I'm probably going to look at is largely going to be stuff that's in Live 12. So some of this stuff you won't be able to do, but let's just have a look at it anyway. So we can change the transient envelope of the beats algorithm, which is a thing that people have been requesting for a long time. And let's do the same thing here. Let's just set this to something like 2.5 bars, just drawing. Yeah, so that's effectively modulating this thing here, I think. Let's put it all the way down. Am I doing that right? The transient envelope. Yeah, I think, am I doing that right? Maybe that needs to be up. Yeah. Well, let's just, anyway, I wasn't going to dwell on this for too long, but if we sort of do it at the same grid as some of the actual transients, some of these are 16th notes, some of these are 8th notes. So you can sort of chop it up a little bit more. Yeah, that's kind of fun. And you can do the same thing with the transposition as well. So we could transpose this. Let's set this to like another weird offset unlinked. Is it because that, did I unlink that other one? Let's go back to, oh, I didn't unlink it. Okay, no, all right, okay, good. I don't think that's going to make any difference. Anyway, so let's just do the same thing with the transposition. Let's just like draw in some random transposition here. Bit quiet, let's turn it up a bit. So then again, that entire event, as it were, is going to happen according to my launch settings. So I'm just using the default trigger, but if I put this to something like repeat and 16th notes, it's going to get that, which could make for quite a nice build up. And then when you're ready, you let go, it's going to go off and do its thing. Pretty good fun. Let's get let's get this one in, and let's look at some of the automation that we can do. So I could maybe do something like get a reverb in here or something, and we could maybe put the reverb on. Well, there's a reverb on one of the sends already. So of course we can do clip automation as well, and that is also going to be determined by the clip launch settings. So I'm going to right click this first send here, and I'm going to go show automation. So yeah, I don't think automation. Yeah, we want automation. So I'm going to have this clip play all the way through, and I just want to send a tiny little bit into the reverb on this snare, and I'm going to give this a nice big juicy reverb, and then when I trigger that clip, it's going to flick that automation. Oh, it didn't work. Did I do it on the wrong clip? What clip did I do it on? Did I do it on that clip? Oh, I did it on the wrong clip. Okay, never mind. Let's I could do with closing my my IO. There we go. A little bit more space. Okay, let's do that again. So here we are with it. We're on this end here. Okay, I'm just going to draw a little line there, and then when I trigger that clip, it sends it off into the reverb. So you can use clips to control things in the live set as well, which is very nice. I know that whenever I press that, and then if I wanted to, maybe I could have it turn on a flanger or something. Let's get the, excuse me, text message. Let me get the flanger in. Why is everything the other way around? Okay. Phaser, flanger, flunger, flinger, flit. There we go. Okay, let's put the phaser flanger in, and then let's go to the dry wet, and then I can right click here and go show automation, and then maybe for the last bar I just want the dry wet on that phaser flanger to come in. So we've got two bits of automation there, one to flick this clip into the reverb, and then another one to turn on the phaser flanger at the end of the clip. Let's listen to it. Phaser flanger, a bit more feedback. So again, another quick little refresh there. If I just keep re-triggering that, it's going to keep restarting. It's because I've got it on 8th notes. If I had it to repeat and I press it and hold it, either with my push or with my mouse, I'm clicking and holding with the mouse, or I can do it with the enter key. So all these things can happen when you launch a clip, and depending on how you've got that clip set up to launch. Okay, so there you go. We've done it with audio, and we didn't even really get into dummy clips. Maybe I'll try and look at dummy clips towards the end. They're a little complicated, but I said at the beginning I would do it, didn't I? So I kind of have to. So let's have a look at maybe doing it with like an instrument. It's exactly the same. So let's just get in something like, let's just get drift in. And I'm just going to like draw something here with drift. I'm just going to go blah, 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 like that. And then I'm going to turn on the, let's put the scale to C minor. Let's turn on the scale. Let's fold the scale. And then let's select all the notes, turn the pen off, select all the notes, go fit to scale. Okay, now they're all in C minor, I think. All right. Set this to mono maybe. Okay. That's just a quick little, let's maybe go up an octave or something. Select them all, hold shift, press up. Now they're an octave higher. That's okay. So we can do exactly the same thing with the MIDI clips as well. So again, I am going to press on my push here to launch it. It's going to launch forever. I'm going to press a clip underneath. It's going to stop. Or I can do it with the mouse, click here with the mouse, and then stop here. Or I can do it with the enter key on my keyboard. I'm going to press enter. It's going to start on the next bar. Then I can do command enter, and it'll stop. And I can, of course, stop it here as well. So exactly the same things apply with MIDI clips as well. We can go to the launch tab of the MIDI clip, and we can say we want to use toggle, and we want to use toggle at the global quantize. So now when I turn this clip, when I press this clip here, it's going to start playing at the next bar, and then when I press it again, it's going to stop at the next bar. Okay, pretty good stuff. And then we could do the same thing with gate. Let's set the gate to 1/8, and then I'm going to use this clip slot here, press it and hold it. It plays, it loops around, and when I let go, it stops. Pretty useful stuff. And then again, we can do the same thing with the start position and the loop points as well. So if I maybe wanted to just loop this first 3 groups of 1/8 notes here, but start at the beginning. Now when I press this, because I've got gate on as my launch and 1/8 is my quantize, it's going to start from here and loop until I let go. Okay, pretty good stuff. And then, we can also say that we want it to repeat. So with this, it's going to repeat the first 1/8 note of this clip. And then when I let go, it's going to carry on playing and play around this loop point here. Until I stop it, either by playing another clip slot or doing the global stop or whatever. Let's maybe do it with something like 3/8 notes here, but maybe it could happen here or something like that. So same thing. And then when I let go, then when I press it again, yeah. So it's not exactly the most melodically exciting idea, but the timing at which it happens is quite interesting, and that's all from one clip. There was a little vibe that was happening there. I was getting a little bit of a counterpoint between the clip playing at the start and then what happens when I let go. If I want it to play for a little bit longer, I can say maybe play repeat for a quarter note, and then we could maybe have the second part of it play loop for a quarter note. Yeah. A hell of a lot that you can do with just one clip and just experimenting with these launch settings. So yeah, I mean, really, that's really all you need to see with the MIDI clips. Of course, that when you start doing things with MIDI, you're introducing more possibilities of what you can do with just a clip. So with audio, we can obviously play the audio and we can play back automation and we can kind of screw around with the clip itself. But when we start doing this type of stuff with MIDI, it's a completely different story. So in fact, let's make another clip here. In fact, let's just duplicate this instance of drift and delete this clip. Make this one slightly different. Let's make this one green. I'm going to draw in one clip here and I'm just going to play. It's just going to be one note like this, right? And I'm going to set a loop point just inside the start and the end position. So what's going to happen is that when I actually trigger the clip, it's going to loop and kind of keep looping forever. Now, if I have a setting in my instrument that's something like a very, very high sustain, this kind of means the note is just going to play forever, right? Let's maybe try a sound without too much envelope. Pull this envelope down a bit here. Let's try that again. So I'm going to start the clip again. So it's actually, let's watch it do its thing. So it's going to start from the beginning and then just loop. Effectively, it's like a stuck MIDI note. So if I used this in conjunction with something like the arpeggiator, let's get the arpeggiator in here. And let's set the arpeggiator to 16th notes. And then let's get the random in. And let's turn on the thing on the random so that it snaps to the global scale. And then I go back to the clip and I say in the clip, right, I want the clip to launch, and when I launch it, I want it in gate mode, and then I want that to happen on every quarter note. So what's going to happen is that when I press this clip now, for as long as I hold it, it's going to play this looping MIDI note, which is going to go into this arpeggiator, which is going to get randomized and then kind of like make music in the drift. So let's see if that works. And then when I let go, at the next quarter note, it stops. It's pretty good stuff. And, you know, actually we could go even a little bit finer with that. Let's try a 16th note. So you can kind of just trigger a clip and leave these pauses in between just by how long you hold the clip down for, because we're using the gate launch. If you start introducing. So when you start introducing other clips, you can, now I didn't plan for that to happen. I was just messing about, but like if you put some thought into that, then you know, you're going to have a lot of options in terms of what you can do. And of course, with MIDI clips, all the MIDI automation can go in there as well. So if I wanted to automate this frequency, I could just right click, hit. It's not doing that because the clip isn't selected. No, I sometimes run into this problem where I can't automate stuff. So maybe I could just do it here. No, I can't see. And I might have to move my camera. I will look at that another time. I didn't really plan to do that one. So, okay. So what have I done? We've done all the different launch things. Yeah, let's try maybe the dummy clips. So with the dummy clips, this is a sort of a little bit old school, and I do want to go into more detail about this because I did a dummy clips video, but I think it was like 10 years ago, and so many things have happened since then, and I thought it would be interesting to do a dummy clips video in 12.1 and see how it differs, but I'll just touch on it briefly right now. So let's make a new track, and we'll call this one dummy. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to route, show me the ins and outs. Right, I'm going to route this first track to this dummy track. So I'm going to do that down here. I'm going to go audio to dummy, and I'm going to turn the monitoring on, and I'll just make sure everything else is stopped. So now if I press this, the audio is actually coming out of track 2. All right. I've hard routed the audio into track 2. So if I just make just get any old clip in, it doesn't really matter. I mean, I could just record a clip of silence, but any old clip will do. I'll just copy this clip over, and you can see it's kind of grayed out. That means that it's kind of not really, you can't play it, but you can still use it to play other things like automation. So I could maybe just turn the volume down here so that it's, you know, you could just pull in a clip of silence. Really, it doesn't matter. But what I could do is maybe do that reverb thing that I was doing earlier. Let's actually take a copy of this. Let's rename this one dry, and then this, whoops, and then this clip we'll name reverb send. And I will see if that, no, not working there either. Something a bit fishy. I can't, I'll just have to do it this way. So we'll go to mixer, we'll go to reverb A, and if I click and drag here to draw in and then play that. Yeah, that's working. Okay, so I'm going to just do the same thing I did there and just draw in a little bit of automation to flick up that send. So what I can do now is have like separate control of what happens with the clip automation, but it's affecting the audio that's coming from this track. So if I now close my I/O a little bit here so we can see what's going on. I'm playing this clip. Okay, I'm going to play my first clip, which has got no clip automation on it. And then when I play this reverb send clip now, And again, because I've got it... You know, another thing would be to sort of use the gate thing here. So I'll set this first one to have no automation. And I wonder if I even really need to do that. Let's just see what happens. Let's set this one to gate. We'll trigger the first one, and then I'll press and hold this one. Now the send is up. What happens if I let go? Let's see what happens if I... Okay. Okay, the clip did indeed stop, but the parameter automation stayed up. So yeah, that's when it's maybe like a good idea to have like a dry clip with no automation that you would then go back to have nothing happen, and then you could have like a whole load of other clips down here that are where all your dummy clip automation happens. So that is pretty much every single way I can think of to launch clips. It's, you know, it's not much, but at the same time, it's quite a lot of stuff that you can try. And, you know, we didn't even really do follow actions, but I've done videos about follow actions before, but like, again, that's kind of like a whole other thing. I could maybe do something a little bit quick with a follow action because, you know, in most cases when I've done stuff with follow actions, it's about telling clips to do things to other clips once the clip is finished, but you can actually do some pretty cool stuff with just one clip by itself using follow actions. So if we maybe said something like, let's loop this bit here, these 3/8 notes. Let's turn loop on. So what's going to happen is that when I press this clip, either with the mouse or with the push or whatever, it's going to repeat at 16th notes. And then when I let go, it's going to start from here and then loop here. Now it's going to keep looping there forever, but with a follow action, I could tell that to stop or start again. So let's try it with stop. Let's say stop after, let's turn linked off, and then let's say stop after 4 bars. Okay, so this is when things get quite interesting, right? Okay, we're using the launch, the quantize, and the follow action to make a very, very clear decision over how this one clip behaves. So let's go through it. I'm going to press and hold it. It's going to repeat at 16th notes. When I let go, it's going to go here and loop. And then after 2 bars, it's going to stop. Or 4 bars, I should say. Oh, was that 4 bars? 2 bars, I don't know. Let's try again. Four bars. Yeah, it got to 4 bars and stopped. We could try maybe, let's take a copy of that. And then let's say for this one, play again. So I'm going to press and hold it. It's going to repeat at 16th notes. It's going to repeat from here. It's going to loop here when I let go. And then after 4 bars, it's just going to start the clip again. And the whole thing will repeat. Yeah. All right, let's say 1 bar. Let's see what 1 bar's like. So if you got your timing right, you've got a way to kind of re-trigger that clip and be certain that when you've finished repeating it, it'll kind of loop back around, but your time is going to have to be pretty good. Yeah. All that with just 1 clip. Okay, there we go. That is pretty much everything that I wanted to do. So that is every single possible way I can think of how to launch clips in Ableton Live, in any version of Live, maybe with a few exceptions. And maybe that will give you some ideas into other ways that you can get interesting and creative with this universe of the grid and clips, rather than just sort of doing things where you just launch a clip and then you just move to the next clip. You can actually have a a single clip or a bunch of clips, do some really interesting stuff that you can get a little bit more involved in and make your performances just like a little bit more interesting, both for you and for other people. Because if they're interesting for you, your enthusiasm and your interest in what you're doing will be palpable to the audience and they will enjoy it too. That's an actual science fact that I just made up. So, hope you enjoyed that. I'm going to go and put this on my Patreon now, where if you'd like to support me there, you can download this set plus loads of other Ableton Live stuff and MaxMSP and other things, blah, 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 blah. And it all goes towards making videos like this. I hope you had a nice time. See you again soon. Bye.